The fall was supposed to mark the beginning of the end of the labor shortage that was holding back the country's economic recovery. Instead, the workforce shrank in September. There are 5 million fewer workers than before the pandemic and 3 million fewer people who are even looking for work.
People were submitting applications on a slower basis, versus, 4 or 5 years ago, we put up a job posting and it would take, 2, maybe 3 weeks to hire someone.
Some of our co-workers couldn't come back because, they weren't able to connect with their clients. Some of their clients died from COVID.
The health crisis continues to make it difficult or dangerous for some people to work, while the savings accumulated during the pandemic have made it easier for others to give up jobs they don't want. Since the start of the pandemic, Americans have saved trillions of dollars. Much of this wealth is concentrated among high-income people who have largely retained their jobs. But many low-income Americans have also been able to save money thanks to the government's multi-million-dollar response to the pandemic.
Salaries that the restaurant can provide is much lower than the government's, that money that they provide.
Additional savings alone does not necessarily deter people from participating in the workforce. But the pillow allows people to be more choosy about their job choices when many have good reasons for doing so.
We understand that nowadays people would not like to go to the office to work, sticking with that 9-to-5 job. And there are more people who are more willing to become financially independent.
Ultimately, for perhaps the first time in decades, workers who climb and descend the income ladder have leverage, and they use it to demand not only higher wages, but flexible hours, more generous benefits, and better working conditions. A record 4.3 million people quit their jobs in August to pursue higher-paying jobs.
People mostly leave because of the manager that they've had rather than lack of job satisfaction or because of even salary requirements. And I think that's one of the things you're seeing with the more millennial generation is they're more interested in what kind of development can I get for my career, what kind of training will I get, what kind of coaching.
There are many reasons why Americans are reluctant to go back to work. Some are worried about the virus, some want to look for a better job, and for many others, COVID made them realize what's more important in life.
For me, it was the perfect time to take the jump from the dining industry into the music industry to create and do what I love. Well, monetarily, I earn less, but internally, I earn more.
Research shows that the pandemic has forced many to rethink their priorities, while a glut of job openings may prompt some to push for a better offer. In addition to health problems, childcare remains an important factor, and many parents of younger children are struggling to find a daycare center, in part because the industry is facing its own talent crunch.
Especially for a young family with children. So what's important to us is the health insurance and also the retirement plan, and of course whatever other fringe benefits the company would offer.
Rising labor force participation, especially among women, has been a major driver of significant growth in income and production since the Second World War. Many economists argue that the reversal of this trend in recent decades has hurt economic growth. In the short term, many economists believe more people will return to work as the pandemic's problem diminish and people drain their savings. Some companies seem determined to wait it out. Wages have risen, but many employers seemed reluctant to make other changes to attract workers. In part, this may be due to the fact that despite all their complaints about labor shortages, many companies find that they can get by with fewer employees, in some cases asking customers to agree to longer wait times or reduced service.
There's a lot of overhead, to hire someone.
You just have them for a short basic of time.
The sharpest declines in labor force participation have occurred among older workers, who are most at risk of contracting the virus. Some may return to work as their health improves, while others have simply retired. Wu, China America Radio, Manhattan, New York.